"You are being let go effective immediately." Those 6 words hung in the air, cold and final. 16 years of loyalty, and this was how it ended. Bradley Stone sat across from me, his fingers steepled in that smug way he had, looking like he was delivering profound wisdom instead of destroying my career. I did not cry, I did not beg, and I did not flinch. Instead, I smiled. A real calm smile. The kind that must have rattled him because his left eye twitched slightly. I placed my security badge on his mahogany desk. "Good luck with the product launch tomorrow," I said. His face went pale for a second before he composed himself. "Security will escort you out," he managed. Gathering my personal coffee mug and the framed drawing my daughter made when she was 5, I walked out. The security guard, Walter, walked beside me through the corridor. I kept that smile. My colleagues' faces blurred past, shocked or carefully neutral. I did not stop to say goodbye. Walter held the elevator door. "Sorry about this, Roger," he murmured. "Don't be," I told him. We rode down in silence. When the doors opened, I walked through the glass exit. The autumn air was crisp. I checked my watch. 4 minutes and 37 seconds. Until 12 minutes ago, I was the principal systems architect at Hexagon Solutions. I built the backbone of every major software product the company released in the past decade. I designed systems, solved impossible problems, worked weekends, and made others look brilliant. 16 years ago, I started as a junior developer. I was 32, newly married to Brenda, convinced that hard work and talent were enough. I learned differently. I watched less qualified people get promoted over me, my ideas credited to others, and my salary increased in tiny increments while newcomers got signing bonuses that exceeded my annual raise. But I stayed because I believed in the work, proud of what I had built. 4 months ago, I had finally had enough. I went to Bradley, who had been vice president of engineering for the past 5 years, and I made my case calmly, professionally, and with documentation. I had compiled every project I had led, every system crash I had prevented, and every metric that proved my value. I asked for what I deserved, a promotion to director of architecture and a salary that matched my contributions. He had smiled at me then too, that same condescending smile. "Roger, you are a valuable team member, but you need to be realistic about your expectations," he had said. "The company's budget is tight. We will review this again next quarter." Next quarter, always next quarter. I had heard that line for years, but something was different that day. Maybe it was turning 48. Maybe it was my son Justin, asking why we could not afford the summer coding camp his friends were attending. Maybe it was watching Brenda work extra hours at the local clinic to help cover our rising mortgage while I worked for a company valued at $4 billion. Whatever it was, something shifted. I walked out of Bradley's office that day and made a decision. Not to quit, not to complain, but to prepare. Because here is what 16 years in the tech industry teaches you. Knowledge is power, but leverage is everything. I started documenting everything. Every system I designed, every password I created, every piece of critical infrastructure that ran through my hands. Not to steal, nothing illegal. Just to understand exactly how dependent the company was on my work. The Helix project was their biggest product launch in company history, a revolutionary data management platform they had been building for 2 years, set to debut with a major client demo that could secure a $75 million contract. The launch was scheduled for tomorrow, October 24th, at 3 in the afternoon, and I had architected 90% of it, but I had also built something else. I had built a small, elegant piece of code I called the audit protocol. It was not malicious. It did not delete anything or corrupt any data. It simply ran a comprehensive audit of system access and flagged inconsistencies, things like security vulnerabilities, unauthorized access patterns, and instances where company policy was being violated. I built it 6 weeks ago and embedded it deep in the Helix infrastructure, set to run automatically during the pre-launch system check. The check was scheduled for tomorrow morning at 8 in the morning, 7 hours before the client demo. The audit protocol would reveal some very interesting things. Things I discovered over the past 4 months while preparing my case. Things like Bradley authorizing unvetted contractors to access proprietary code, like budget money disappearing into shell vendors, and security protocols being bypassed to meet deadlines. Nothing I could report without being dismissed. But the audit protocol would flag all of it automatically, generate reports, and send them to the compliance team and the board of directors. And the only person who knew how to stop it was me. I had planned to use this as leverage to go back to Bradley in a few weeks. Give me what I deserve, and I will make sure the systems run perfectly. Deny me, and I will let the chips fall where they may. But Bradley moved first. He fired me today, the day before the launch. Either he had somehow found out about my leverage and was calling my bluff, or he was monumentally stupid. I was betting on the latter. I drove home through the afternoon traffic, my mind completely calm. My phone buzzed before I reached the highway. Texts from Valerie in quality assurance and Zachary in tech support went unanswered. There would be time for that later. Brenda's car was in the driveway. She worked as a coordinator at the local clinic and was home early today. She met me at the door. "You are home early," she said, noticing my box of belongings. "Is everything okay?" I set my bag down. "I got fired," I said simply. Brenda went from shock to anger. "Bradley claimed they were cutting my position," I explained, "even though they just hired 3 developers at higher salaries than mine." Brenda knew the story. She had listened to me vent for years about being underpaid and had encouraged me to leave. "Those people are fools," she said. "Are you okay?" I smiled. "I am better than fine," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "Roger, what did you do?" "Nothing illegal," I replied. "I just put safeguards in place." I explained the audit protocol. Brenda's jaw dropped. "So, 7 hours before the launch, the system exposes everything?" "Correct," I said. "And you are the only one who can resolve it?" "Also correct." She laughed, a full, genuine sound. 16 years they had you, and they threw you away the day before they needed you most. Poetic justice. The kids burst in. Justin, 13, dropped his backpack. Holly, 10, stopped speaking as she read the room. Both looked between Brenda and me. "Nothing is wrong," I said. "I am just not working at Hexagon anymore." Justin's eyes went wide. "They let you go? But you are the smartest architect there." "Sometimes corporate decisions do not make sense," I replied. Holly asked if we had less money. Brenda smiled. "We will be fine," she reassured our daughter. "We have savings, and your father will find a better job." We had about 5 months of expenses saved. It was enough to keep us secure while I figured out my next move. But my immediate focus was on tomorrow. The evening proceeded normally, but underneath it all, I was aware of the clock ticking. The audit protocol was set to trigger at 8 in the morning. I slept better that night than I had in years. Morning came with gray skies and the smell of coffee. Brenda had handled getting the kids to school. When I came downstairs, she handed me a mug and kissed my cheek. "Ready for the fireworks?" she asked. "They should be starting in about 15 minutes." My phone had been quiet all night, but at 8 in the morning the storm began. First came a text from Valerie. "Something is happening with Helix. The system is flagging thousands of issues." "Where are you?" Then Zachary messaged. "Roger, are you around? We have a major situation." Then my phone rang. Bradley's name appeared on the screen. I let it go to voicemail, playing it on speaker so Brenda could hear. "Roger, it is Bradley. Look, I know yesterday was difficult, but we have an urgent situation with the Helix platform. Some kind of audit is running, and it is flagging massive concerns before the launch. I need you to call me back immediately." I deleted the voicemail and took a sip of coffee. Bradley called twice more, followed by a call from Lawrence Henderson, the chief technology officer. A senior executive calling a fired employee was a major deal. I answered that one. "Roger Vance," I said. "Roger, thank goodness," Lawrence said. "I apologize for the direct call, but we have an urgent situation. I understand you were the lead architect on Helix." "I was until I was terminated yesterday." A brief pause. "Yes, about that. I only learned about your departure this morning, and the timing is highly concerning. We have a critical system audit flagging numerous issues before our launch. Would you be willing to come in and consult? We will compensate you." "I am afraid I am not available today," I said. "I have other commitments." Another pause, longer this time. "Roger, this launch represents a $75 million contract. If we lose this deal, it will be catastrophic." That was the question I had anticipated. "Mr. Henderson, did you know I requested a promotion 4 months ago?" Silence. "No, I did not. Did you know I have been the lowest paid senior architect despite having the most seniority?" "I do not have that information," he admitted. "Well, I was told the budget was too tight, and then I was fired." I could hear him breathing. Roger, what you are telling me is very concerning. Can we meet in person today to discuss this? I can be there at 11, I said, but not as an employee, as a consultant with terms. What terms? We will discuss that in person, I replied, and I want you and legal in the room, not Bradley. Understood. I will have a conference room ready. 11th floor. I hung up and looked at Brenda, who was smiling. Go get them, she said. I spent the next 2 hours preparing. I gathered my promotion request, Bradley's denial, salary history, a timeline of major projects, and a technical summary of the audit protocol findings. I was not trying to destroy Hexagon Solutions. I was not trying to sabotage the launch or hurt the company. I was trying to correct an injustice and establish my value in terms they could not ignore. At 10:30, I dressed in my best suit. Brenda whistled as I walked downstairs. Go get what you deserve, she said. The drive to headquarters felt different. I was not going as someone who needed them, but as someone they needed. I parked at 10:45. As I walked toward the lobby, I heard rapid footsteps behind me. Bradley was jogging toward me, flushed and disheveled. We need to talk, he panted. I do not think we have anything to discuss, I replied. Please, 5 minutes. You were in my way, Bradley. I know what you did, he whispered. The audit protocol. You built it to sabotage me. I built it for system integrity, I replied. The fact that it exposed your shortcuts is not my fault. You cannot talk to Lawrence, he said. I understand perfectly, I countered. You violated security, mismanaged budgets, and fired me to cover your tracks. Now you are panicking. I can get you your job back, the promotion you wanted, he pleaded. We do not need to involve the legal department. You cannot get my job back, Bradley. I have a meeting with someone who actually has authority. I tried to step around him, but he grabbed my arm. Don't touch me, I said. Remove your hand. Just listen. He was almost pleading. If you turn off that audit, I will fix everything. I will... He started, but did not finish his sentence. You will what? Make more promises you won't keep? Deny me again next quarter? Fire me when I become inconvenient? I made a mistake, he admitted. But if you do this, if you go up there and expose everything, it does not just hurt me, it hurts the whole team. People could lose their jobs. That gave me pause. Not because I believed him entirely, but because it was true that company fallout could affect innocent people. Which employees do you mean? I asked. The developers, the engineers who were just following orders. If this launch fails, if we lose this contract, there will be layoffs. Is that what you want? To take everyone down with me? I looked at him carefully. He was sweating now, desperation rolling off him in waves. This was a man who had built his career on taking credit for other people's work and avoiding accountability for his own mistakes, and now, finally, he was cornered. Here is what I want you to understand, I said, keeping my voice level. The audit protocol will run its course. The launch can still succeed, but only if the issues it flagged are addressed properly. That is not sabotage. That is quality assurance, but you are the only one who can fix it quickly. Yes, and I will, but not for you, not to save your career. I will do it for the team that actually built this system. For Valerie, who spent months in quality testing. For Zachary, who managed the infrastructure. For all the people who did actual work while you took credit and collected bonuses. Roger, please. Move, Bradley, I demanded. He did not move. For a moment we stood there in the concrete parking garage. His hand was still on my arm. Then a voice echoed across the garage. Is there a problem here? We both turned. A woman in a sharp pantsuit was standing by a nearby car. I recognized Clara Jenkins, the chief legal officer. No problem, Bradley said quickly, dropping his hand from my arm. Just a conversation. The woman walked closer. Roger Vance? Yes, I said. I am Clara Jenkins, chief legal officer, she said. Mr. Henderson asked me to make sure you made it to the meeting safely. I see his instinct was correct. Bradley's face went from red to white. The head of legal witnessing him physically restraining a fired employee in a parking garage was terrible optics. I was just leaving, Bradley muttered. Excellent idea. Clara said coolly, Roger, shall we? I followed her to the elevator, glancing back once to see Bradley standing alone between the cars, looking like a man watching his world collapse. I felt a tiny spark of satisfaction. In the elevator, Clara pressed the button for the 11th floor. Sorry about that. Lawrence mentioned there might be some tension, so I came down to meet you. That was good timing, I said. We take employee safety seriously. Former employee safety, too. She paused. For what it is worth, I have been reviewing your file this morning. What happened to you should not have occurred. No, it should not have, I agreed. Let's see if we can make it right. The elevator doors opened to the executive floor. Lawrence Henderson met us at the elevator. Roger, thank you for coming, he said, extending his hand. Conference room this way. He led us to a glass-walled room with a view of the city. We sat. Lawrence folded his hands on the table. So, let's start with the immediate situation. My team tells me there is an automated audit process running on Helix that is flagging numerous security and compliance concerns. They cannot override it. Can you explain what is happening? I opened my laptop. 6 weeks ago, I implemented an audit protocol in the Helix infrastructure to check for security vulnerabilities and compliance issues. It is a safeguard, not a bug. But it is flagging major discrepancies, Clara observed. I turned the screen. It identified 17 instances where external contractors were given code access without clearances. That violates security policies. Who authorized that? Lawrence asked. The authorization trail leads directly back to Bradley, I replied. He did it to meet tight deadlines, exposing proprietary code. I walked them through the budget irregularities, vendor discrepancies, and bypassed security protocols. None of this was opinion, it was verified data. This is highly damaging, Lawrence said. It is also fixable, I replied. The contractors can be removed and security reinstated. I estimate 5 hours of work. Can you do it? Lawrence asked. Yes, I replied. Will you? That depends on the second part of this conversation. Clara slid a document across the table. It was a salary comparison chart showing my name at the bottom despite my tenure. Newcomers made 15 to 25% more. Your promotion denial was unilateral, Clara said. That violates company procedures. Firing you after you raised compliance concerns creates retaliatory discharge liability. Furthermore, Bradley forging access credentials violates California Penal Code Section 170. We have a major legal problem. So, what happens now? I asked. Lawrence leaned forward. First, we hire you as a consultant at $650 per hour to resolve the Helix issues. That contract will be signed immediately. 5 hours will yield $3,250. Second, we will review your termination and offer reinstatement as principal architect at the top salary range. That is a 42% increase, plus back pay. I felt deep satisfaction. And third, I asked. Lawrence smiled. Third, we want you to lead a division audit on management and compensation equity, reporting to me. We need to know who else was overlooked. What happens to Bradley? I asked. Someone who circumvents security, violates the penal code, and fires top talent is finished, Clara said. Everything I wanted was on the table. I want this in writing before I touch a line of code, I said. I will have contracts ready in an hour, Clara agreed. We have a deal, I said. We shook hands. Lawrence looked incredibly relieved. I will have someone set you up in a vacant vice president office on the 20th floor, he said. I will need my old security credentials reinstated temporarily, full access to the Helix production environment, and a large coffee from the executive break room, I said, and one of those high-end ergonomic chairs. Consider it done, Lawrence laughed. They sets me up in an office with floor-to-ceiling windows. I adjusted my ergonomic chair and smiled. By noon, the contracts were signed, my access was restored, and I was deep in the Helix code. It felt good to work on my creation. The issues the protocol flagged were serious, but entirely resolvable. I removed the unauthorized contractor access, restored the security layers, and corrected the documentation. Each fix was satisfying in its precision. At one point, Valerie knocked on the door. "Is it true you are back?" she whispered. "Temporarily, then permanently, but under much better terms," I said. "Everyone is freaking out," she smiled. "Bradley looked like he was having a stroke this morning. Then word spread you were here to save the day." "You are a hero. I just know what I built," I replied. "Give them hell, Roger," she said. By 2:30 in the afternoon, 30 minutes before the client demo, Helix was running perfectly. Every system was green, and every security protocol was in place. I walked to the demo room. Lawrence saw me and walked over. "How are we looking?" "All green," I said. "The system is solid. The demo will run perfectly." "Thank you, Roger. You saved us today," he said. The client demo went flawlessly. Helix performed exactly as designed. The sales team was excellent, but the system itself was the star. When the client's chief executive said they were ready to sign the $75 million contract, the room erupted in quiet celebration. Lawrence caught my eye and mouthed his thanks. I nodded, then slipped out to gather my things. As I packed my laptop, there was a knock. Bradley stood in the doorway. He looked like a ghost, defeated and pale. "Can we talk?" he asked. "I do not think we have anything to discuss," I replied. "I made a mistake," he said. "Firing you was the wrong call." "You made a lot of wrong calls, Bradley. The budget violations, the penal code violations, the compensation inequity. My firing was just the most visible one." "You sabotaged me," he whispered. "You built that audit to expose me." "I built it to protect the company," I said. "The fact that it exposed your mismanagement is not sabotage. It is accountability." "They are going to fire me," he said. "My career is over." I looked at him. I did not feel triumphant. I just felt tired. "Your career is over because you forgot that the people who do the actual work have value," I said. "You treated your team like interchangeable parts. That is not revenge, Bradley. That is consequences." He stood there a moment, then left without another word. When I got home, Brenda and the kids were waiting. "Did you win?" Holly asked. "It was not a competition, but yes," I said. "I got my job back, a promotion, a raise, and a new project." Justin cheered. "I knew they would realize they messed up." Brenda hugged me. "I am proud of you," she whispered, "for knowing your worth." Holly asked if she could go to the dance camp. "Yes, sweetheart, you can," I said. She squealed and spun. Justin asked if we could get the science kit with the microscope. "Probably yes," I smiled. That night, Brenda and I sat on the porch with wine. "What happens on Monday?" she asked. "I go back as principal architect," I said. "I start the division audit to make sure what happened to me does not happen to anyone else." "Do they resent you?" she asked. "Some managers might, but the engineers will be relieved. So many have been overlooked. If I fix the system, I help everyone." We sat in silence. She asked if I forgave Bradley. "Forgiveness is too generous for someone who damaged my self-worth," I admitted. "I do not need to forgive him, just move past him. He is not my problem." On Monday, I walked back through the glass doors. I had a new badge, a spacious office, and a salary reflecting my contributions. More importantly, I had authority. My first week was intense. I reviewed compensation data, promotion timelines, and project assignments. The culture was not pretty. I found 3 women systematically underpaid, and 2 developers of color passed over for promotions despite stellar reviews. One meeting stood out. Maria Martinez, a senior developer who had been with the company for 10 years, came into my office looking nervous. "I heard you are reviewing promotion practices," she said. "I have been asking for a promotion to lead developer for 4 years. Every review, I am told the timing is not right, while colleagues who started after me get promoted." "What reason were you given?" I asked. "That I needed to demonstrate more leadership," she said. "But when I volunteer to lead projects, they go to someone else." I took detailed notes. "Here is what is going to happen," I explained to the developer. "I am documenting this. We are implementing a new promotion review process with clear criteria. Your case is exactly why this audit is necessary." Her eyes welled with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "I was starting to think it was just me." "It is not you, it is a broken system, and we are going to fix it," I assured Maria. I documented all of it and presented my initial findings to Lawrence in week 2. He listened, his expression growing grimmer. "How did we let this happen?" "It happened slowly," I told him. "Small decisions that seem reasonable in isolation, like hiring someone at a higher rate to be competitive but not adjusting existing employees to match." "What do you recommend?" I had prepared a comprehensive plan: salary adjustments for everyone who was underpaid, a new promotion process, regular compensation audits, and transparent project assignment processes. "This is going to be expensive," Lawrence said, reviewing the numbers. "More expensive than the lawsuits we would face if this pattern continued?" I asked. He smiled. "Point taken. You have my approval. Make it happen." Over the next 3 months, I restructured how the engineering division operated. There was pushback from some managers, but the engineers were relieved. Valerie from Quality Assurance stopped by my office. "I just got an 18% raise and an apology for being overlooked." She smiled. Zachary sent me a message saying it was the first time in years his work felt valued. Those moments made the effort worthwhile. Bradley was quietly terminated in week 3. I heard he took a position at a smaller firm, a step down from his previous role. I felt neither satisfaction nor sympathy. He made his choices. By month 4, the division's productivity metrics were up 14%. Retention of top talent had improved by 45%, saving millions in recruitment costs. Lawrence called me into his office in February. The board reviewed your audit and the changes you implemented, he said. They would like to make you vice president of engineering excellence. It would mean a bigger budget and direct board reporting. I sat back. Vice president. That was 2 levels above where I had been when I was begging for a fair salary. I think I want to say yes, I told Brenda that night, but I do not want to become someone who is never home. Then do not be that person, she said. Set boundaries. You have leverage now. I went to Lawrence the next day with my terms: work from home flexibility and no evening meetings. He agreed without hesitation. I took the role and built a framework where equity was real and talent was recognized. The revenge I took was not dramatic. There was no screaming, just careful preparation, perfect timing, and the confidence to bet on myself. Sometimes the best payback is refusing to accept less than you deserve, and building a system where no one has to fight alone. If this story resonated with you, take a moment and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because workplace justice is something we can all work toward. Thanks for being here, and remember to know your worth, document your value, and never underestimate a well-timed audit protocol.